today I'm joined by Jamie. All right, Jamie, how's it going?
Hey, Danny. Good, thank you. I'll go back, thank you, way back to early days when I was young, just to give you a little history. So you know, growing up as a kid, I was diagnosed with dyslexia from a young age, and went to my schooling. Was a special dyslexia school in Surrey, and so I always struggled with learning. I always struggled with sort of dyslexia, and didn't get any qualifications, and just the whole school process was not that fun for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until sort of many years later that I was it wasn't until I was probably about 20 that I started to become very tired, just sort of lack of energy for anything. Found it very difficult to get up in the morning, found it very difficult to, hold down a job. So I went to the doctors, and they ran a few tests. Sort of at first they kind of thought I was just, being crazy, just while I was being lazy. But then, after they did a few tests, they realized that there was potentially an issue. So they did some tests, and I came back with having a portal vein thrombosis, which is basically like a clot in the liver. So I had tests, loads of scans, in and out of hospital for years. Long story short, I was misdiagnosed. So I had that, and then I was put on warfarin to sort of thin my blood, just to help with the blood flow around my liver. So like I said, I was just having endless tests in and out.
That was tablets, wasn't it? Not injections.
Yeah. So every day I would take those, and the worst part about it is that it didn't actually make me feel any better. You would have thought that, actually, if I had this, maybe it would help with some of the symptoms, but I was still getting tired and, didn't have any energy or anything. So I had lots of different tests. I was kind of thrown around to like different doctors and stuff. And it actually ended up seeing one doctor who looked at all my scans and results and, realized that things kind of didn't really add up. So he referred me to King's. And it was there that I was diagnosed with a really rare condition called Abernathy syndrome, which basically meant that the blood around my liver wasn't getting around my body the way it should be. It was kind of like bypassing my liver.
Yeah.
And that in turn caused cancer tumors, and my liver was actually shrinking as well. And then with that, I had to have chemo and TACE, which is basically like a type of chemotherapy that's targeted into the body. And then that kind of worked a little bit and bided me a bit of time. And initially I was going to have like a kind of stent operation. When we first spoke to the doctor about it, he was going to do like this stent because he didn't want to do the transplant. And they eventually realized that they couldn't do the stent because they'd realized that my tumors in my liver, the cancer tumors, had grown too much. So they basically said that, your transplant is the only option, which was obviously really, really scary. November 2018, I was saved. I was somewhere else having some tests done, and we got a call in the afternoon, and my dad took the call. He was obviously very emotional when it was the call, but and put me in a taxi and went to the hospital, and so many different things going through my mind. Obviously completely freaked out by the whole thing. But the guys at King's Hospital, like, they're so good. Even though like what you're going through is massive, like they're so good at just supporting you, reassuring you, telling you that once you get through it, you're going to feel so much better and all this kind of stuff. There was one previous call before I had the call. That first call, I was called, got an ambulance, called up at 3 a.m, went to the hospital, and there was a bit of a wait. And then we found out that actually there was a very ill baby that was, not in a good way, and really needed a new liver. So obviously it was kind of between me and the baby at one point. So I was obviously like, you got to give it to the I mean, I'm in a bad way, but I'm not sort of, knocking on death's door just yet. So yeah, so eventually had the transplant. I was in hospital for 9 days.
Yeah, that's good.
It was, yeah, lots of drugs, lots of weariness, you know. I'm sure you experienced the same. And waking up for the first time, not being able to speak. So I remember my family was standing around me at the time. I woke up and I could see that they were all there, and I just was like, you know, like gagging to speak, but I had a thing in my mouth. So yeah, I mean, being back at home was took a while to adjust. I remember when the first day I came out of hospital, and it just felt, everything was just like, wow, like look at the trees and stuff again, and like just being able to go for a little walk and stuff. Like it was really surreal. It was like, yeah, no, I remember like finding obviously the stomach area really, really painful, and finding it difficult. I was kind of hunched over for quite a while. Like I couldn't. It was very difficult to stand up straight. You're about feeling like almost like you were like ripping that area of your core.
Flexible,
you know. Yeah. So I'm pretty much back to full fitness now. I mean, obviously I'm back and forth having blood tests just to check everything is okay. I have blood tests sort of every 3 or 4 months, and then you get a call, you know, obviously, like, you know, just to go through it all with you. But it's been all right. The only thing that's been a bit of an issue is my kidney function, because of the, you know, the medication, obviously, as you know, can affect your kidneys a bit.
What medication are you actually on?
Just the immunosuppressants, so the tacrolimus. Yeah, I was on like 20 milligrams of steroids. I was on prednisolone. I was on, you know, the stuff that you took for like your stomach. I can't remember what it's called now, just to help with gas reflux.
Omeprazole, probably.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I found the steroids really affected my mood. I was very, very like on edge.
Yeah.
Angry, like shouting at my family, my wife and stuff. And no, it wasn't great being on the steroids.
As I mentioned that you do yoga, so we'll put a link up to that, because you run classes and stuff, and from what I've seen, they're really good. Yeah,
definitely. It's something which is nice to get back into, and just you know, getting back into doing, because I really found work hard before the operation. Like I couldn't really function, and you know, energy levels were so low. You know, the things that I wanted to do, I couldn't really make happen. So it's just nice to be able to do something that you've got the energy to do now, and you know, you can help others as well with it. So it's nice. We went to Greece last year for our honeymoon, because my wife and I, we weren't able to go on a honeymoon when I was on the waiting list, just because you're not allowed to go anywhere. Thankfully, we managed to get married, which was amazing.
You got married while you was on the waiting list?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was, that was quite hard, because we were in two minds as to whether we should get married or not, because of whether or not I'd get the call. But we went ahead with it, and you know, it worked out amazingly.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good.
Yeah. So it's definitely important to keep busy. You know, do exercise if you can do exercise.
Yeah.
And all those things, you know, just to get your mind away from the future and, you know, what might happen. Just a thank you to like my my doctor, Professor Heaton. You know, if it wasn't for him, like I wouldn't be here today. Like he did amazing, and you know, has gave us sort of so much hope and reassurance when we were like really, really worried.
Like you said, the whole team at King's were amazing.
Yeah, like, and all the nurses and everyone there, they were so good. Like I had quite a few nights where I was just really scared and really upset about what was going to happen, how I was going to, you know, how long it would take, how long I'd be in hospital for, like all these, you know, all these things were going through my mind. And the nurses were just, you know, they'd give you a hug when you needed it, and they'd sit down and have a chat with you if you needed it. Just big thank you, obviously, to my donor who saved my life. And, you know, it's an amazing thing. And also to anyone who's on the list, just, you know, making sure that they try not to panic too much, and, you know, really important to look after the mind, you know, do things to help them feel better, get out there, get exercise if you can. And, you know, once you get the operation, you get that liver, which you will, you know, you're going to feel amazing afterwards. It's like just being given a new zest of life. It's like you're a new person.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, and you appreciate things, I think, a lot more. Like
yeah, definitely.
You know, the little things in life, like just going for a walk.
Thank you very much. See you later, mate.
Danny, take care.